And welcome to the Summit League Women's Soccer Preview Show. That's right, fall sports are upon us, and we're going to take some time today to walk you through the Summit League and the women's soccer side of things. But before we get too far into what's coming up, let's take a look back at what happened in 2025. It certainly was another exciting year across the Summit League. Oral Roberts Denver tied for the regular season championship. ORU and Denver both 6-1-1 in conference play, with South Dakota State not far behind at 4-1-3. Kansas City, South Dakota were both 3-3-2. Omaha, North Dakota State, and St. Thomas. Of course, Denver no longer part of the Summit League. They have moved on, so an 8-team field coming up here in 2026. The tournament results look like this. Of course, one automatic bid from the Summit League. It went to South Dakota State, who was the 3 seed for the tournament last year. Quarterfinal contest went to Kansas City and South Dakota State, both by 1-0 scores. The semifinals, Oral Roberts, the top seed, got past Kansas City 2-1, and SDSU blanked Denver 1-0. And then in that championship match, ORU and South Dakota State, and it's the Jackrabbits getting it done for their 9th Summit League tournament title, their 3rd straight, their 4th in the last 5 years. And with that number 9, the Jacks have now the most conference tournament championships in Summit League history. And they did this one with all shutouts. First time they've ever accomplished that, winning by scores of 1-0, 1-0, and 2-0. As the Jackrabbits advanced to the NCAA tournament, they lost to 5th-seeded Iowa by a score of 1-0. So a strong showing for Brock Thompson and his team in the postseason yet again there in 2025. All right, we turn the page now to 2026. Here is what the voters thought about how this year's field looks in the Summit League. The regular season champions, again, as we said, Oral Roberts coming back while Denver moves on. ORU, the number 1 seed in this year, or the number 1 team in this year's poll. They got 6 first-place votes, 48 total points, followed closely by South Dakota State, again, the 3-time defending Summit League tournament champs. Jackrabbits come in with 44 total points and 2 first-place votes. Beyond that, Omaha, South Dakota, Kansas City, North Dakota State, North Dakota, and St. Thomas. That's a look at the preseason poll this year in the Summit League. We are going to take some time here over the next several minutes to talk all things Summit League soccer on the women's side. Team previews of each and every one of this year's 8 members in the conference. We're going to start that next when we come back with the St. Thomas Tommies. Stay tuned. Acting head coach of the St. Thomas Tommies, Becca Brandt. She's in her first season at St. Thomas. And Becca, this is an interesting situation, right? Greta McDonald comes in, has to take a leave of absence due to familiar reasons. And now this gives you an opportunity, but it also creates a unique situation for the team, obviously, having this transition happen when it did. How has the group handled all that to this point?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, but I'm grateful the university and Greta trust me with the program, and this group is no stranger to adversity. So, they were surprised, but ready to conquer the rest of the adversity of the season's going to bring. And I think they're still ready, and they've put in the work this summer. So we're excited.
Well, anytime there's coaching transition, obviously there's certain questions that come along with that, and certainly system and all these types of things. What are the Tommies going to look like, or how do you want to play that might be different than it was a year ago?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a new era for Tommy soccer. I think we've broadened our athleticism, our tactical awareness, and we've brought in some good incomers that are just raised the athleticism across the board. So I think with the higher tactical understanding, we're going to be able to keep the ball a little bit more and be a little bit more organized defensively so that we can exploit teams on transition.
You look at last year, this team went 3-9-4 overall, 0-5-3 in the Summit League, but you did draw with Oral Roberts, Denver, and North Dakota State. So 2 of the top 3 teams you were in draws with. Is that just at least a seed of encouragement as you come in, knowing that you were that close against some of the best the league had to offer a year ago?
For sure. And I think just the mindset of the group has changed. I think so far we're really bought into the idea of competing for 90 minutes and getting better every day, whether we get results or not. So, yeah, we were encouraged by not only that, but just the spring that we had with the team to build some of our foundational pieces to success this fall.
You mentioned the athleticism. Obviously, that's important in any Division I environment. What else, in terms of attributes, really stands out about this group that you like?
I think just their eagerness to learn and get better. I think, they obviously went through a lot of adversity last fall, and they're just hungry for information. The questions that we get every day are encouraging, and they're almost like frustrated when they aren't getting enough information. So I think just that growth mindset and willingness to keep getting better, keep asking questions, leading each other, as well as themselves. So yeah, just that growth mindset mentality is really encouraging to see from them.
You mentioned too, on the offensive standpoint, wanting to take advantage of teams in transition a little bit. Melina Knowles, Emily McCarthy, two of the top 5 return in terms of scoring from a year ago. Obviously, those two are you would think, going to be very important to what you guys want to accomplish on the offensive end of things. How much improvement have you seen in them, and what kind of leadership role have those two in particular taken in that way?
Yeah, they came back ready to go. Even from the end of the spring, they look fitter, they look stronger, better technically, and just ready to go. And they played a big role over the summer in just getting our newcomers ready and reaching out to them and getting everybody on the same page as far as the work it's going to take to turn this program around. So yeah, they're going to be huge leaders on and off the field for sure.
Going to get some change in the net this year. It looks like a goaltender will be new, no matter who it is. You do have Aiden Gagner, who transferred in from Duquesne. What does that situation look like, and how close is it to being settled at this point?
I think it's a really cool situation. It's tough, but it gives them all the opportunity to compete. And so when goalkeepers are, not set in their roles, they're able to push each other and be pushed more. So we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but we're excited and know they're going to push each other and push our back line and the team to be
all right. As we
best.
take a little bit of a turn of focus to this schedule that you've got coming up, August 12th, the opener against Marquette at 3 o'clock. You will face Minnesota as well in the non-conference. You go to the Gophers on August 30th. How does that help set you up? That and the rest of that non-conference slate set you up for what is going to be a grind within the Summit League?
Yeah, I mean, playing the best teams possible and facing as different systems and different styles of play is the best way to get prepared for the Summit League. So yeah, it's going to be a tough non-conference, but we're excited for what it's going to do and the challenges we're going to overcome before even starting the Summit League.
And it is a 10-game slate in the conference this year, despite the fact that Denver is no longer part of the conference. You open up September 24th at Omaha. You play 4 of your first 5 league games on the road. That in itself, certainly a challenge, a chance to grow as a group.
Yeah, of course, playing at home is always great, but we're excited for all the travel and just the time to build the culture and chemistry off the field so that we're our best on the field, and that translates.
Well, Becca Brandt and the St. Thomas Tommies getting close to starting off this first season there in St. Paul. Becca, we appreciate your time. Good luck to you and the Tommies this season.
Thank you so much.
All right, time for a player's perspective now from St. Thomas. And joining us is senior defender Sophia Englund. Sophia, appreciate you taking some time to talk with us today.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, let's talk Tommies soccer, right? And it's been an interesting fall, certainly with the news of Greta McDonald taking a leave of absence and Becca Brandt obviously stepping in. You already had a coaching transition from last year to this year. But what's the vibe within the group right now amidst all that change? Have you all managed to kind of take that all in stride and stay focused on what's really important ahead?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the transition, getting a new coaching staff with Greta, Becca, and Alex this January was super exciting news. We were excited to kind of get, stepping foot in kind of a new environment, a new atmosphere. And then with Greta taking her leave, we had been pretty accustomed to Becca and Alex throughout the spring. So obviously it was a little bit shocking hearing the news, but at the same time, like, we're excited to build this new Tommy era, and we've gotten to know Becca and Alex really well now, and their style of coaching. So at the end of the day, not having Greta was, as the freshman and as a team, we were excited to really get to know her this fall. But at the same time, we've gotten to know Becca and Alex very well. So it's not going to be anything too new for us now.
As a returner on this team, obviously last year was frustrating. There's no way around that when you go winless in the conference. But at the same time, you did earn 3 draws, including 2 against a couple of the better teams in the league. How much excitement is there to get in and really kind of step between the lines and let that do the talking about in terms of how much improvement you all have been able to make since the end of last season?
Yeah, that kind of shows that we are a gritty team and we can get results when we really feel that we can mentally. I think as much as it is a physical battle, it's also a mental battle with every individual. And I think every single player on a team has their role. And I think if we all kind of get on that same page and know that, that's how you really make a difference. Every person that steps out on the field can create an impact. Even if you don't, you're creating an impact on the bench. So I think like having a very well-rounded team, a very diverse group that really can get to know each other and build trust. I think trust is the most important aspect of a team, and we've talked about that a lot. And I think that we have that, and I trust all my teammates, and we've had 3 practices. So I think that kind of building that foundation is super important, and that's why I think we will be able to find success this year.
Yeah, lastly, what is the ceiling for this group? With everything you've seen to this point, what has you most excited about what could happen this year?
It's a new group, it's a new coaching staff, and obviously these first few days, these first few weeks, it's just trying to get used to that and understand that, but that's what's exciting about it. I believe we have 8 new freshmen. I think we have like 10 new players total this year, and 3 coaches, Becca and Alex now kind of with us, but that are excited to turn this program around. And that's, it's a clean sheet, fresh start, and that's what's important. So.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, Sophia. Appreciate your time. Good luck to you and your teammates this season.
Thank you.
Next up on our Summit League team previews, we turn to the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. Their head coach, Henrik Zone, in his 2nd year as the head coach, 3rd year overall with the program. And Henrik, appreciate you taking some time. Year 1 did see some improvement. You led the Fighting Hawks to a 4-win improvement, a couple of wins better in the Summit League last year. So all things considered, how'd you feel about year number 1 as the head coach there?
Yeah, it was a decent year. I think we made some improvements compared to the years prior, but we still have a lot of work to do. We didn't reach the ultimate goal, which is making it to the conference tournament. And then, in a tournament, anything can happen. So we fell short of that goal. But overall, there was a lot of growth. We got more wins. We finally got over the hump to win some Summit League games and show that we're competitive. So we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, 8-7-3 overall, 2-4-2 in the Summit League with wins over North Dakota State and St. Thomas. But you were right in those games, even the ones that you lost, Henrik. All 4 league losses came by 1 goal. That shows just how close and just what that margin of error really can be in league play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very competitive league, and it's the details that decide games. Also, there's always the component of luck. Does the ball bounce your way or it doesn't? And that's part of the game. And that's why we need to prepare ourselves to be on the other side of things, not like last year, to win these close contests.
Let's take a look at how things are shaping up. The good news is in terms of scoring, you returned your top 2, Charlie Bassinet, Cora Ellerman, both back this year. Certainly a couple of good pieces to build around for you. But overall, the shape of this group, what's it looking like right now?
Yeah, we got a solid core of returners. We have a lot of new players, 15 new players coming in. So it's a very different team. But we returned a good core group of players. There's Avery Toms is coming back. Lily Balshaw is another player that comes back and will help us. So I think it's a good core group, a good spine of the team. And then we are adding in some transfers and some freshmen. So it's interesting. But I think we're highly capable. We might be young, but very, very talented. So I'm excited for the season to see what's going to happen.
Now, one of the big questions, obviously, Grace Miller moves on. She transfers to Purdue. What's the goalkeeping situation going to look like for you?
We will play with a goalkeeper.
That's an excellent way to think about it. So you're not ready to make a decision yet. And it is early, and that's fine. But overall, it is such an important. You talk about 15 new players and acclimating everybody with that solid group of. You said it, the spine of the team, as you stated. Chemistry is so important. How has that part of it come along, even in the earliest of stages here?
Yeah, I think the team has done a phenomenal job. The leaders of the team have been stepping up and trying to integrate the new players. It's always a little rocky if you join a new team. It's like anything in life, it's hard at first. And the freshmen have done a good job, and the transfers have done a great job of being open-minded and coming in with a positive attitude. And we've been doing really well. So the vibes are high around here.
It's an excellent position to be in. What's the biggest thing you'd like to see different out of your group? Obviously, take away the obvious answers of wins and losses and all those things. But in terms of pieces of the game that you want to see your group take a step forward this year, where do you feel like some of those big transitional parts of UND soccer have to happen?
I think decision making is a big thing we need to get better at, and I think we already got better at. If you're in a situation, you see option 1 or 2, you got to pick those and don't wait for option 3 to open. At this level, there's not enough time for that, and the window will close. So making decisions quickly and making the correct decisions quickly, I think that's something we worked on. And overall, we've got to continue to be physical, be locked down defensively, and score more goals. I think that's the easy way to win the game. So decision making and just being consistent in the back and dangerous up top, that's the goal.
As we transition over to the schedule and you look at the August 13th season opener at Minnesota, obviously that's a big test with a very talented Golden Gopher group. But as you put that all together, what was going through your mind, knowing that you were going to have to work in 15 new players? And are you pleased with the slate you were able to put together so that you can make the most out of it and get ready for that Summit League slate at the end of September?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, talking about decisions, how do you learn? By making mistakes.
Right.
That's part of any sport. So being tested right away and being able to make mistakes, because we all make mistakes. Every player will make a mistake. High level will teach you again. So I was planning on putting out a strong non-conference schedule to really get ready for when it really counts. Summit League starts, I'm really pleased with the conference, and I think we will be successful in that play. There's some challenges of growth, and we grow together. So we're heading in the right direction.
All right, that Summit League slate does open up against the arch rival North Dakota State on September 24th at home. You play 4 of your first 5 league games at host. You'll see the Bison twice. You'll see SDSU twice and USD twice. But Henrik, want to wish you all the luck here in 2026 as you try to take another step forward with that UND women's soccer program.
Thank you very much.
For more on the Fighting Hawks, we turn to one of those new players that Coach Zoe just talked about. She is Hannah Peters, a sophomore midfielder from Clovis, California, transferred in from Long Beach State, former high school player of the year nominee in California. And Hannah, how has life in Grand Forks? That's an adjustment for everybody, especially when you get really far from home like you are. But what's it been like moving into a new program like UND?
Yeah, it's awesome. Just starting with the whole city, it's a really small college town, so it's great. The support awesome from the fans. We have top tier facilities over at UND, so recovery and everything field is amazing. On the field, we have like a win first mentality here at UND, so we literally go by win. So win or work, inspire, never settle. So that's our motto, and we go by that every single day, every practice. We're always working towards that goal of win, period. So it's been great. The win first mentality, it starts with the coaches and it just trickles down through our leadership here, and every single player is 100% bought in. So yeah, it's great.
Well, Coach Zone did talk about you are one of 15 new players in this program, whether that be freshmen, transfers, whatever. There is a certain amount of time just to be expected in terms of acclimation, getting that group together and all on the same page, rowing in the same direction, all of that. How far have you come in this short bit of time so far in fall?
Yeah, we've come a long way, with all the me being a sophomore now and so many freshmen coming in. We have a standard to uphold here, and the captains of this team, like Avery Toms, Cora Ellerman, they've done a great job of keeping the culture strong and maintaining our play style here. So yeah, we've been working really hard in the preseason, and we're excited to see how it's going to pay off once we start games starting tomorrow. So yeah.
And it was a 4-win improvement in Coach Zone's first year at the helm. A couple of games in the Summit League you won. You were right in the ones that you lost. How excited are you to see where this next step could lead in 2026 based on what's back and what's been added to this group?
Yeah, we're super excited. All our returners, we know the expectation. Even the transfers are coming in the spring. Like, we know our play style, we know the culture, we know the expectation, and we have the freshmen that are coming in and the transfers as well. There's so much hunger that we have on the field, and we're really looking forward to kind of show all the improvement that we've had, even from our first practice a couple weeks ago to now. We're looking really strong, and we're really excited to show that result on the field.
Yeah, Hannah Peters and the Fighting Hawks certainly hoping to keep that thing moving in the right direction here in 2026. But Hannah, appreciate your time. Good luck to you and your teammates here this season.
Thank you.
Next up on our team previews, the North Dakota State Bison and their head coach Mike Regan in his 9th year, the 2024 Summit League Coach of the Year, led those Bison to the Summit League title in the regular season back in 2024. And Mike, let's start there, because there were, at this time last year, there's so many expectations after the turnaround and the championship that you guys enjoyed there in 2024. So how would you classify what ended up happening last year?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, we've definitely had a big opportunity to, look at, what 25 looked like and put some new things in place, in January. But, just to be open and honest, we feel that, from a recruiting standpoint, coming off that 24 season, we dipped into the transfer market. We felt like we'd done a stellar job just to increase, the level of our group. And, ultimately, I'm the leader of the program and always take accountability for, results in either direction. But it just didn't work out, going back from what our focus was from a recruiting standpoint. And, we learn from that, we move on, and January onwards just gives us an opportunity to reset some things within the program. So, for us, culturally, we've always been in a good place here. I'm very blessed that we've got a great group of student athletes. I think ultimately the player combinations that I came up with along with the staff just didn't really mix that well with the current group, and not necessarily culturally, but just playing style wise. And and as you know, you've got to get off to good starts and build momentum and get better. And we didn't do that. We didn't show what we showed in 24.
Looking at the numbers, 5-12-1 overall, 1-6-1 in the Summit League. But Mike, you also weren't that far off, because you had 4 one-goal losses in the conference. So it could have been a very different season if the ball bounces just another way too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the positivity. I think when you look at kind of the overall performances within those games, though, our league has got better and better every single year, and there's no easy game now. So, if you look at, our home overall record as well, just wasn't good enough, throughout that campaign. So, no, I appreciate it, but at the end of the day, results don't lie, and we've got to continue to get better and make sure that we're ready for this season.
Well, as you turn your attention to 2026 and what is there and what you're working with as a staff, as a head coach, there's a lot of talent still in the stable up there in Fargo, and you're looking at Morgan Russman, Isabel Garcia, Hannah Arnold, Amaya Garrett. I mean, those are impressive names. And then Peyton Mulberry was the 2024 goalkeeper of the year in the Summit League when you won that regular season title. So that part has to have you come with a certain level of comfort, I would think.
Yeah, like you say, I think when you look at it last season, we had Peyton, I think, for 25% of the season last year due to injury. Now she's back healthy, which is brilliant. And when you list off those names, we've got a lot of talent here, a lot of good people that really enjoy the program. And so from January onwards, we've just been really resetting a lot of that, resetting kind of what we want to be about, what we want to do this season. And it's been a lot of hard work, I would say, January through April. We had a big opportunity in June, took the group to Costa Rica, and brought in our incoming freshmen along with the trip as well. So anytime you can go on a foreign tour and play games and obviously build that, it's been great. So no, we've got a great non-conference slate coming up. We've got a brilliant group of young ladies here that are here for the right reasons, and we're definitely going to work hard to put that product on the field.
Do you feel confident, talking about the extra practices, the extra experiences that come with that foreign tour, and then obviously with what you were able to accomplish in the spring before that, and now in the fall with, interjecting all of those pieces together once again as things start to get real, do you feel like some of the misses that were there last year in terms of the playing styles and different things like that, the combinations you spoke of earlier, do you feel like you're closer to where you really want to be and what will lead to more success for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a question I'll be able to answer fully in November, right? In terms of postseason stuff. But in general, I think every coach would tell you when you can spend a little bit more time with your team on and off the field on a foreign tour, and then with the rules allowing us to train before we go. June was a cracking month in terms of being able to really see what we've got. So now, fast forward to this time of year, the staff and I have come into August really understanding what we've got, what we want to see more of, what we want to build on the field chemistry wise. And, the returners have done a really good job, from January onwards, making sure that when we do get to this point, they're also investing in, the incomers and the accountability of the program and just standards in general. So very, very much feel in a good position, in terms of knowing what we've got coming in from that June experience.
Well, and you mentioned that schedule a little bit earlier, Mike, and obviously there's got to be some good feelings about the fact you're going to open with 6 straight home matches. I mean, that doesn't happen a whole lot. That's certainly going to help you feel as comfortable as possible as you begin these stages of trying to correct some of the things that didn't go well last year.
Yeah, I mean, geographically for us, I mean, we've scheduling, like everywhere is tough. So to try and get the schedule we've got this year is really worked out nicely. And as you mentioned, just us being able to build momentum at home. We've got 12 home games overall this year. So we've got to make Dakota Field into a real fortress, hard place to come, hard place to play. And, building into those 6 games, will be brilliant for us in general. I feel that the non-conference slate is going to push us and going to test us and going to put us in a position where we've got to, really grind out results and get better as we move forward.
Yeah, open up with Green Bay August 13th, but you got Marquette, Minnesota, Washington State all coming there to Fargo. So 6 straight to start, 4 of your first 5 league games at home as well. As you said, 12 total home dates here in 2026. So a lot of things to feel good about there from a scheduling standpoint for North Dakota State. But Mike Regan and the Bison try to get things turned around here in 2026. Coach, we appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
All right, time for a player's perspective from North Dakota State. We bring in senior defender Amaya Garrett, a native of Omaha, Nebraska. And Amaya, you've seen a lot of soccer there in Fargo. You've started all 54 of your matches in your career. You've seen the highs, you've seen the lows just within the last couple of years. So how are you feeling as you get set for this senior campaign here in 2026? Was certainly feeling, I would imagine, like you guys have something to prove after what happened last year.
Yes, for sure. I'm feeling good about this season. I think, obviously, like you said, started all 54 games, and part of that was the 2024 season where we ended up on top pretty much in regular season games. And then after that was the 25 season where we kind of had a little bit of a learning year, struggled there. And so I feel like having both of those seasons, I, like you said, got to see the highs and the lows. And I feel like learning from both of those, you kind of know like what not to do, what to do, and like how you can lead in between. And especially like with the core group of girls that we've had from those 2 seasons and like my class, I feel like just really excited with the knowledge we've gained from both of those seasons. So excited about this season for sure.
Well, you all, the good news is you all know what it's like to turn things around in a hurry, right? From 23 to 24, you did it. And now you get a chance to do it again. Nobody necessarily wants to be in the position to have to turn it around, but at the same time, knowing how to go about that has to be an advantage as you enter this campaign.
Yes, for sure. I think definitely going from 23 to 24 just showed us a lot. And I mean, I was a sophomore back then, so I definitely learned from that senior group and the 5th years that year too, like what they did to lead the team into that season. So I've definitely like taken note of those things and like learned from that. And like, I feel like definitely using that to my advantage, like this year, like how I can help the team from a leadership standpoint too, as well.
And you look around that dressing room, you look around the pitch with what's around you. What's got you excited and confident that you all can kind of flip the page and really turn around and let last year go?
I feel like going to the season, I'm very, very excited. We got to go to Costa Rica in June and bring our 13 new incoming freshmen in this year. So that was really great for the team from like a cultural aspect, a soccer aspect. Like, I feel like it was just a great opportunity all around to like set the season off in a positive note. So that's very exciting from bringing in new people, new talent. And then I'm also just excited to keep playing with the core group of girls that have been here like through it all, through the 24 season and the 25 season as well. So.
All right. Well, it sure seems like your mind's up there in Fargo or in the right spot as you begin this journey of what this 2026 season will be. So am I. We appreciate your time. Certainly wish you nothing but luck here as you get into this senior season.
Thank you so much.
Next up on our team previews, the Kansas City Roos picked 5th in this year's Summit League preseason poll. Their head coach, Jessica Smith, in her 7th year, coming off a season in which you won 9 games, Jess, the most in your tenure there. So obviously that shows the progress that every coach is hoping to have each and every year. What worked well for you guys last year? Obviously, coming into the preseason at this time last year, the expectations weren't real high, and you guys worked your way up to the middle of the pack.
Yeah, we had a great group last year. The returning group obviously did a lot of work in the spring, and then we added some players late spring and into the summer. And I would say that our quality overall was one of the best teams that we've ever had. But even more so than that, just the competitiveness and the culture that we had on and off the field. That group wanted to win and had a lot of leaders in different age groups and some special players on that team. And, you know, when you start winning some games, you start building those habits. So the team was really confident and really bought into what we needed to do. So it was a really special year. And certainly the wins were awesome and finishing higher than, you know, we were predicted. But I'll look back at that season as one of my favorite seasons just because of the group of women that we were around every day. And it was a special group.
Yeah, belief and confidence goes a long way, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you finished 9-8-3 overall, 3-3-2 in the Summit League. But that included a win at USD on the road in the Summit League quarterfinals. Another feather in the cap for you, getting that postseason victory.
Yeah, that was a special moment. Just kind of stepping back and seeing the team really celebrate and really feeling that for the first time since I've been here, winning in the postseason. So that experience for us, you know, obviously making it into the tournament semifinal and just having that experience for the returning group, I think is going to be really important for us going forward. But they saw that, you know, it's a long season and there's a lot of progress that you have to make and week in and week out. And sometimes it comes down to the very end and you can still achieve your goals. So really excited for that group. And I think it's going to lay the foundation for this year.
Yeah, and you look at this year and you returned 2 of your top 4 scorers, Olivia, Ashley, both back. so some serious firepower there, especially with Olivia, 9 goals, 5 assists, 23 points. She was up in the top part of the Summit League in both goals. She tied for first in league play and in overall points with 10. Those are a couple of nice pieces to build around. How has the construction project around that gone?
Yeah, both of those players that you mentioned obviously are key players for us, and they're the leaders of our team. So we expect big things from them from a leadership standpoint and just their output on the field. They do the work day in and day out. So that's, what we're going to get from those two, and great examples for the rest of the team. And, we're going to be a younger, inexperienced team this year, or less experienced, I would say. We've added a good handful of newcomers. Some of those players have done really well in the summer transition into preseason. But the reality is we do have a younger team this year. But I think that we've got a lot of belief and confidence in players, and we're seeing some of the young players that are coming in really make an impact, and that's only going to get better. As I told them today after training, it's we've only been together for a few weeks, and it's a process throughout the entire season. And everything that we do, the way that we've built our non-conference schedule, is to prepare us for the Summit League, which is a difficult conference, and we want to compete and be tested throughout the entire non-con. So we're ready to go. And I think that's going to be really important for the young players that have joined us.
Yeah, I want to get a little bit more into that schedule here in just a second. But before we do that, looking at the defensive side of things last year, and you look 7th in goals allowed in Summit League play, opponent average is 7th in total saves as well. As you've identified things that needed to get better for this trajectory to continue to climb the way it did a year ago, was defensive part of that?
Yeah, I think just overall, obviously, we've got to give up less goals. We scored a lot of goals last year, and I think that obviously that's a positive thing. But if we are giving up, 10 less goals than what we did last year, I think the season ends a little bit differently.
Sure.
So that's going to be something that's really important for the group, and a big emphasis so far in how we've started laying the foundation of how we're going to play and what we need from our players. But we've got to be more organized defensively. We've got to be grittier. We've got to win second balls. We want to give up less chances off of corner kicks. So I think some of the players we brought in, and then some of the returners, we're going to be much better in the air. And so I think in our league, you've got to be able to be physical and win balls in the air. And I think that's something we'll be doing better this year. But just overall, as a defensive group, we just have to be more organized and compact, and make it really difficult for an opponent to break us down.
Well, and you get to work on that during that non-conference slate that you mentioned earlier. You open up August 16th at Iowa State, so a tough one there. You also make road trips to Creighton and Kansas. Some good tests for this group as you continue to work through some of those things you've talked about.
Yeah, we'll also be traveling to Memphis too, which is their top 20 RPI typically. So I built the schedule intentionally for us to be challenged. And we go to Arkansas tomorrow for our first exhibition. So we're going to be tested against a team that's going to be physical and direct. And the way that we built the schedule is to try to really be tested and exposed. For us, it's about, we want to gain confidence and we want to get better throughout the non-con, but it's about being ready for the Summit League. And we've got some great competition in the league, and we've got to prepare ourselves in the games leading up to be able to compete if we want to win the Summit League. So I think that's a change that we've made, and it's going to take a lot of focus and tenacity and just resilience from our group, because as I told him today, the next 6 weeks are not going to be easy. But the reason we're doing it that way is so that we are ready to go when it really counts.
And it's big challenges in the Summit League itself. You'll open up against the defending regular season champions at home, Oral Roberts, on September 24th. But Jess, certainly appreciate your time. Can sense the excitement that you and the Roos have coming into this 2026 campaign. Good luck to you all.
Thanks so much, Jay. Appreciate it.
For more on the Roos, we turn to Olivia Platt, coming in one of the top returning scorers in the Summit League from last year. And Olivia, appreciate you taking some time with us here today. But you certainly get a sense from Coach Smith when you talk to her about the genuine excitement level after the season you guys put together last year. Even though it didn't end with a championship, there was some serious progress made there in Kansas City.
Yeah, definitely. I think going into the season, just the Summit League in general kind of had low expectations for us, and we just had the drive and ambition to prove everybody wrong, and we knew what we were capable of, and it was just a matter of going out there and doing it, which I think we did. Obviously, we came a little short, and that just leaves us even more hungry this year to reach our goals and win a championship.
Coach talked a lot about the newcomers and having a younger team. That makes people like you, people who've been through this grind before, that much more important and understand what it is to be a Roo and to play Kansas City soccer. So can you talk a little bit about just kind of the leadership mindset that you're bringing into this season individually?
Yeah, I think a lot of it for me just comes down to trying to lead by example and just raise each individual newcomer to the best ability that I can, help them, guide them along the way, give them the words of encouragement they need. But at the end of the day, just doing it through leading through example and just being somebody that, is there to help them when they need, answer questions along the way and just help form like a true, good relationship with everybody. And that goes off the field as well as onto the field.
Well, this is in the season, obviously, in its very early stages here, and you've been together for just a few weeks at this point. What has stood out to you in training about what this group is bringing each and every day?
Yeah. I mean, every single day, I think our grit, it's last year we had it, but it's even more identifiable this year. Everybody that's out there, all the newcomers, we all want it so bad. We push each other very hard, and that's what it's going to take in practice is, treating each other like we're an opponent, pushing each other to get 1% better every single day. And I'd say all of our newcomers for sure are doing that.
As you consider all that, you consider this schedule that you've put together, which is challenging. There's no question about it. Coach Smith talked about that was a very intentional thing on her part as she did that. She wants you battle-tested by the time you get to the Summit League because that is a real grind, a 10-game grind this year, as a matter of fact. So what has you excited about what that slate looks like in front of you and the opportunities that it holds?
Yeah, I mean, I look at our first exhibition against Arkansas, just having the opportunity to play these incredibly high-leveled quality teams. It's only going to make us better. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it's about learning in every single game opportunity that we have because it's a stepping stone throughout the year until we get to conference, which obviously is the most important time of the year. So just a good opportunity to grow every single game. And as well, I just think that we're going to be able to prove a lot of these teams wrong, be able to come out and play to their high level as well.
Kansas City gained some steam in the Summit League, and Olivia Platt, certainly a huge part of that. Appreciate your time, Olivia. Good luck to you and your teammates in this upcoming season.
Thank you.
Next up on our team previews, the South Dakota Coyotes picked fourth in this year's Summit League preseason poll, and their head coach Michael Thomas already in his 10th year at the helm there in Vermilion. Coming off 2 straight appearances, Michael, in that Summit League tournament. I know the progress has been there, slow and steady, right? But now it seems like the experience and the talent are starting to align a little bit more. Is that fair to say, just based on the roster and the kind of the evolution of the group that you've had over the last couple of years?
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about when we got here was just always being a little bit better the next day than you were the day before. That it wasn't looking for a magic bullet, but it was inch by inch getting better, and to have a program that can be consistently good and consistently competitive. And I think it's something the women have shown that in some ways we've achieved that. Now it's taking those experiences and trying to get over the hump to make a run.
Yeah, and I think one thing that you can look to right there that points to exactly what you're talking about last year, 1-4 in 1-goal games against your Summit League opponents. I mean, you were right there, just couldn't quite get over the hump, and that's kind of part of what you're talking about there, it feels like.
The Summit League's just so competitive that everything is just small details and taking care. It can be a kick of the ball. It can be 3 inches here and there. And some of that stuff is stuff that you can control, and some of that stuff you can't control, but the women compete hard, and we like to think that we're in just about every game there is.
A nice feather in your cap last year is you got the opportunity to host the Summit League quarterfinal for the first time. Certainly, one of those steps as you're talking about, just getting it a little bit further along each and every year.
Yeah, it's something that it was a lot of fun. The campus did a great job of coming out and supporting us, and unfortunately the game didn't go the way we wanted it to. But I know it was a really memorable day for us, for the women on the team, and for the campus.
You look at this year's roster, Michael, and there's a lot of reasons to be excited, starting with the fact you returned 3 of your top 4 scorers, including Clarissa Vega, who's a Summit League newcomer of the year last year, scored 8 goals, 3 assists, led the Summit League in both shots on goal. Certainly a nice piece to build around, and you've got a cupboard that's pretty full right now.
Yeah, we're really excited for the fall. Clarissa can do so many things. She's obviously the goals come to mind and people like to talk about the goals, but she's also a player that can bring her teammates in and create chances for other people. And then she works extremely hard defensively for an attacking player. Sometimes the attacking players have the reputation of not being able to put in the work, but she's somebody that definitely leads the line offensively and defensively. And then one of the things that we think we have is we have a team where not only do we have other people that are in our starting lineup can contribute, we've got people that can come off the bench and contribute with goals, can contribute with assists. It's something that we have a lot of different people that can make a contribution, and we think it's one of the strengths of our team.
Campbell Fisher back as well, has played a lot of time in net for you. Overall, defensively, goalkeeping, what's that piece of the equation looking like to this point?
Yeah, we have a strong goalkeeping crew as a whole. Campbell's the name that people know, and Campbell's got a lot of experience and has been a very consistent performer for us for the last couple of years, and we expect more and better things out of her. One of the things where you see growth as people get into their 3rd, 4th, and 5th year is you really start to see it with communication, where Campbell's getting to the point where she doesn't have to make as many saves sometimes because of the way that she's reading the game. She's capable of going and making the save when she has to, but whether it's cutting out a ball or just organizing the defense in such a way that she doesn't have to, watching her mature has been a lot of fun.
Overall, as you've gotten through these first few practices, I know it's early and there's a long, long way to go, but what has stood out about how this year's group has come together, and that's mixing in the new pieces around that talent that we've already talked about here?
I think the biggest thing is how welcoming our group is. That we have, you've alluded that we have a lot of returning experience, but we also have 10 freshmen on the roster, and it's going to take contributions from the old hands that have been around, and it's going to take contributions from the people who have just stepped onto campus, and we're excited to see how they come together. The advantage we do have here is the way that the seniors guide the freshmen and the way that the juniors accept the freshmen. They make my job really easy in that regard.
Turning the attention to the schedule, obviously it's an important first few weeks with you. You open up August 12th at Northern Iowa. You'll go to Nebraska. You'll host Creighton. Lots of opportunities there with opponents of that caliber to help you get to the point of being ready for the Summit League season, which comes up end of September.
Yeah, you can't just schedule soft and be ready to compete in the Summit League. The conference has just grown, and it's just too good of a conference to do that. So one of the things that we've always done is we've tried to challenge ourselves. Last year, we were able to get Iowa and Kansas State and Minnesota all on our campus. 2 of them were exhibitions. 1 of them was a counter. This year, we're going down to Nebraska. We've got Creighton up for an exhibition tomorrow that we do. We have a lot of opportunities to challenge ourselves against good competition. And, each and every one of those is going to help us get ready for the Summit League in a different way.
And that Summit League starts, again, September 24th against South Dakota State. You'll face the Jackrabbits a couple of times along with UND and NDSU here in 2026 during the regular season. But, Michael, appreciate your time as always. Good luck to you and the Coyotes here in 2026.
Thank you very much.
More from the Coyotes now with senior midfielder Brooke Conway from Highlands Ranch, Colorado. And Brooke, appreciate you taking some time to join us as well. We've talked to Coach Thomas at length, and obviously there's a lot of reasons for you and this group to be excited with what you return. Lots of individual personnel, but just collectively as a group, it feels like you all have grown up together in this program, and there's a lot of consistency in that way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It being my 4th year, it's been a great past 3 years, but I think each year we've gotten better and growing with these players. We had a really big freshman class my sophomore year. So growing up with them these past 2 years has been great. And this past spring season, we did a lot of great stuff, had a great preseason as well. So I think we really, when you get to know your players on and off the field, it really translates into those results.
Yeah,
and I think that'll go into the season as well.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. The chemistry piece is obviously so important for any team and the level of success that you hope to attain. But what have you seen as this group has gotten together this fall? I know it's early. There's a ton of time to go before things start to really matter. But at the same time, each and every one of these days is important. You've got to really stack some good stuff together. So what have you seen so far from this group that has you really eager about this fall?
Yeah, we always talk about how every year we kind of think of the year as starting in January. So starting in January and we have the returners working for those months is so important. And then having the acclimation period this year has been really awesome to get to know our freshmen because we had a class of 10 come in. So I think getting to know them on and off the field for those 2 weeks has really helped us learn how they play. And they've really blended into our returners really good as well. And they have a lot of talent, a lot of potential there. And we kind of look at the season as the most important game of the season is always the next one. So we always have that end goal, but just taking things day by day and kind of always getting better for yourself and each other each day and building that chemistry and looking towards the next game is really important to us.
Now, the progress with this group has been slow and steady. Brooke, what's the ceiling for 2026 with what you've seen, what returns? Where can this group take things?
Yeah, I think we have so much potential, and we've been working so hard throughout the spring and however many years each of our players has been here. Obviously, our end goal is the championship, and just working towards that with every practice, every game, no matter what, or who it's versed through the non-conference and conference, just working towards that end goal. So.
Sounds good, Brooke. Appreciate your time. Good luck to you in your senior season.
Thank you.
One of the up-and-comers this year in the Summit League, certainly the Omaha Mavericks picked third coming in. Their 9th-year head coach, Tim Walters, joining us now. And, Tim, you all are not far removed from a couple of Summit League title match appearances. And this team certainly appears to be trending in that upward direction. What has you excited as you get started here in 2026?
Yeah, for sure. I'm really happy with the direction we're heading in. It was obviously a bit of a rebuild after, the couple championship games and the championship in 22. It's not that long ago, but I tell you what, it feels like a really, really long time ago. But we got an exciting young group. We have a lot of depth this year. I really like where our team's at in a lot of areas. And we have a lot of players who got a lot of experience last year. So I think experience is a big deal in this league. And we didn't have a ton of it last year, but now having some experience, I'm really excited about where the group's heading. I think we'll be better defensively and be maybe more like we were a couple of years ago, where we were really hard to score on in different ways. And I like us going forward this year. We got some speed this year, and speed's hard to come by. So I like our pace up front. So I hope we're a well-rounded group. I really like our group heading in the season.
Well, you talked about kind of that rebuild. In 6-9-4 overall last year, you were 3-4-1 in the Summit League, lost to SDSU in the Summit League quarterfinals. One thing that stood out, 1-5 against teams that finished above you all overall in the season in the Summit League. How do you change that piece of it specifically and go from that team that's hanging in there and competing to getting those wins against the upper echelon of the conference?
Yeah, we've always been a program that's prided ourselves in defending the right way and being hard to score on. And we gave up too many soft, easy goals last year that, again, comes with experience that we didn't have a lot of. And I think if we can clean that up, we'll score enough goals. But that's really been our main focus is we got to be a better team defensively. I mean, again, it's always been part of our program. If we can clean some things up defensively, I really like our chances of getting some of the better teams this year.
What thing, with that in mind, what are things looking like in the net for you right now?
Yeah, we got good competition right now. Charlotte played a lot of minutes for us last year, and she's back. We have a sophomore, Claire Fundus, who is more ready than last year, and will get some minutes in preseason. Will be ready to compete, and we think she's got a really good future for us. And then we brought in a transfer, Cadence Fagan, from Iowa State, and she was great in the spring. And right now, she's probably in the driver's seat, and we're looking forward to her playing some games here in the preseason and seeing what she looks like. But we got good competition right now. We got a number of goalkeepers who we trust and we think we can count on, and we'll kind of see how things shake out over here over the next week or so.
Shifting that focus to the attacking side of things, you do return 3 of your top 4 scorers from last year: Kendall Dauberstein, Charlie Court, Peyton Ivins. That's a nice situation between those 3 players. You're talking about 32 points. So a nice piece to build around, certain from a foundation standpoint on the attacking side.
Yeah, I'm really excited about those 3, and Charlie will probably move further back this year, and she will probably let her dictate the game more from the midfield. And she did a really good job for that for us this spring, and maybe towards the end of last season. I think the one thing we've added along with Peyton, who probably more plays off the right, and Kendall plays more off the left, is we've added a center forward named Haley Braun, who really complements those 2 well. So I think we'll be able to score different ways, and I think that's really important. We probably scored mostly off set pieces last year. The speed with Kendall and with Peyton playing off Haley this year, I'm excited about what they have to offer. And then Charlie can do special things, whether that's on set pieces or through the run of the game. She's a different type player. She plays the game probably a different way than most of the group. And I think the 4 of those together, I think we'll be able to score some goals. And confidence is everything. Once you score a couple goals and you start banging in goals, you start playing a little bit better. So if we can get them scoring a little bit early, I think we'll be well off then.
You mentioned speed a couple of different times already, and obviously that's an attribute. As you said, it doesn't just grow on trees, right? When you find it, you've got to find ways to use it to your advantage. How has that attribute shaped how you maybe plan to play a little bit offensively this year?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you have speed, you want the team to have more space behind them. So you have to sometimes concede a little ground. Sometimes it's okay letting the other team have the ball because we'll be pretty dangerous in transition. So I think that's something we've worked on, is how quickly can we get to goal after we've won the ball. And obviously you have to make good decisions, but if you have the personnel for it, I think it's a really dangerous way to play. And I think we'll have the people who can get in behind and kind of be dangerous on the counterattack. So it doesn't mean that's the only way we'll play, but it means that it's an added dimension to how we play.
Sure.
And I think it's always good. We're going to play lots of different teams and lots of, stylistically, we're going to play teams that play different ways. And I think being able to beat teams different ways is really, really important.
Yeah, always good to be multidimensional. There's no question about that. And obviously you get some time here in the first few weeks of the season in that non-conference slate to help kind of mold all that together, right? You've got a challenging one at that. You open August 12th against Iowa State. You've got Nebraska, a trip to Lincoln, and then you get to host Creighton as well. How does that serve this group in terms of getting ready for the important part on September 24th when the Summit League season starts?
Yeah, I always tell the group our job is to be ready when the first conference game comes around. So, we're going to use these games to help us get better. I think it's exciting for us for those 3 big games you named. 2 of them are at home, which is it's really cool. Hopefully we can get good crowds here. But our job is to use those games to get better. And then obviously they help prepare you. If you do go to an NCAA tournament, you're going to play a team like that, probably on the road. So they help prepare you for that. So I think they'll make us better. I love that after the Iowa State game on Wednesday, we have 8 days before our next game. So we get to play a game, we get to reflect, we get to recover, and we get to say, okay, what can we fix here to make this team really push forward and get better going forward. So that's been the nice part about women's soccer. Stretch these seasons out quite a bit to where we get a little bit more time between games to improve. So looking forward to it. Iowa State will be good. The team's excited about that. And then obviously Nebraska and Creighton, we're always excited for those games. And it'll be fun. My focus, like you said, is on that first conference game, but the group will be really excited for those games for sure.
Yeah, that league opener September 24th against St. Thomas. All right, Tim Walters and Omaha. Appreciate your time, Tim. Good luck to you and the Mavericks this season.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
turn into a player's perspective on the Omaha Mavericks. We bring in senior defender Emma Hampton from Urbandale, Iowa. Emma, thanks for taking a little time with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. First and foremost, obviously, it's always exciting when you get into a new year, right? But when you're picked third in the Summit League, obviously people are starting to pay attention to the Mavericks and think that you guys are on the rise within this league. One of the teams that's really trending in the right direction. So what's the mindset right now as you start to attack this 2026 season?
Yeah, I think after coming off of last year, we have players that kind of have another year under their belt and we have a little bit more experience. I think just comes with confidence. And I think going in, we're just kind of have the mentality that we deserve to be in that third place spot and kind of just take that experience that we now have and roll with it and roll with the confidence. And yeah, we've been playing really well and continue to get to know each other with the new pieces. And yeah, it's been great so far.
Your season ended in the Summit League quarters to South Dakota State, which is, there's no shame in that with what that program has accomplished, of course, and it was just a 1-0 defeat. But how much excitement did that breed, just going into that situation and playing tough against one of the best teams in the league year in and year out, and being able to really compete and show that the Mavericks belonged in that postseason tournament again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's so exciting. Like it shows we have more to give. And coming back with such a similar team and just adding some great new pieces, it just makes that excitement grow. And can't wait to see what we can do and how far we can go and compete with this really good Summit League. So yeah, we're excited.
Well, I know you're just a few practices in, but what's the feeling like right now within that group, within that locker room, about how much progress has been made to this point even?
Yeah, I think we've just been really taking pride in ourselves. And I think just like really, only being a couple practices in, it's just kind of the excitement just continues to grow in the locker room and everyone is just excited to be there. And we kind of feed off of each other a lot. And that is a really good thing for our program. And if we can continue to ride that wave and kind of just keep that excitement and that energy going, we should be in a really good spot come season. So
Emma Hampton and the Omaha Mavericks, one of the teams to look out for certainly here in this 2026 campaign in the Summit League. Emma, appreciate your time. Good luck to you and the group this season.
Thank you so much.
Rolling on now with our team previews. Moving to South Dakota State, picked second this year in the Summit League. The reigning Summit League tournament champs. That's 3 times in a row reigning Summit League champs. And Brock Thompson, their 10th year head coach, joins us now. Brock, welcome back.
Yeah, always great to talk to you this time of year, Jay. It's an exciting time for us and for the Jackrabbits, and looking forward to kicking off.
Well, let's talk about that. And it is an impressive run of sustained success with your program. Only 5 other programs have won 10 or more matches in 13 straight seasons. And we're talking the likes of UNC, Penn State, Florida State, Georgetown, South Carolina. It's pretty good company to be in. And then, of course, there's those 3 straight Summit League titles for the last 5. You guys now own the most of those in Summit League history. I think I asked you this exact same question last year, but how have you managed to just keep things rolling as long as you have?
Truthfully, Jay, we're blessed with great people, and the players are the first and foremost in that equation. They're the ones that put so much into their craft and sacrifice so much to elevate Jackrabbit soccer, and they continue to do that. They continue to amaze us as a staff, as just what they're willing to do to try to move the needle forward for our program. But beyond that, an incredible staff around me, both with our assistant coaches and with Eric Cayley and Corey, but also just the resources that we have available at South Dakota State. Blessed with the team that we have alongside of us to really maximize our potential.
Well, let's take a look at the way this group did it last year. And I mean, you're talking just Summit League stats only. You're first in goals, shots, and shots on goals. Then on top of that, as prolific as you were on the offensive end, you were that stingy on the defensive side of things. Usually works out pretty well for those teams that are good at both ends, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, soccer's a game that's going to, really punish you or maximize you depending on how you are in front of goal, whether that's yours or the opponent's. And I thought we had a really good balance of that last year. And over the course of our, the past, we've done it both ways. Sometimes we've leaned a little bit more on our defensive group and our collective defending, and sometimes we've been a little bit more potent in the attack. So it was nice to have a really good balance a year ago.
Looking at this roster, and I mean, the cupboard is certainly not bare. There were a couple of key losses, certainly Haley Christensen being one of them, but you returned 4 of your top 6 scorers. Any coach is going to love that situation.
Yeah, we've got a lot of offensive firepower back, for sure. We actually had, the most points out of any freshman class in the country. They were our sophomores and really retained that group. And so that's exciting. And we get Caitlin Bolke back, who missed last year with an injury. She was our leading scorer the year before. Honestly, the biggest challenge is how do we play in a way that maximizes their strengths, knowing that, as you said, the cupboard's not bare there, and how do we elevate their game? It's also easier to score when you're unknown, and it's much harder to score when opponents and coaches have seen you one trip through. So that's the challenge that we have as a staff.
Obviously, Mallory Benhart, too, the Rating Summit League Goalkeeper of the Year. She's back as well. It's another good piece, an anchor, if you will, for this group this year.
Yeah, Mallory's a special player, and blessed that she's a Jackrabbit. We will need her early in the year because a significant number of our losses came across the back line. And so as we rebuild that and develop we have some experience there, and obviously we have some ability there, but we don't have some collective experience where they're playing together. And so having a goalkeeper that's that's been here for a year will help us hopefully expedite that, the growth in that group.
Well, I know it's early, and that is a process, right? That's what the non-conference slate is for, is to help get you to where you need to be by the time that Summit League season rolls around. But so far, what have you seen? What have you really liked about the way this group has at least started to come together?
Yeah, one, I like that we can play in different ways. And I think that's what makes this group really special is we can play with great pace, but we also have the composure and intelligence to put our foot on the ball and slow it down. I also like the fact that we can score goals in a variety of ways. And I think that you touched on that earlier with the players that we have coming back, they all have different strengths. And so I think in the attack, we're a little bit unpredictable. And that allows us to really be hard to defend, knowing that we can score by getting behind teams, by going around teams, by a counterattack, but also in just a lot of different ways. And so that's really what I've seen so far in preseason.
And I mentioned that schedule. You'll open up August 13th against Manitoba. You get a chance to host Washington State on August 20th and go to Kansas State on August 23rd. Plenty of other matches in there of consequence as well. But how does that slate get you set for the league?
Yeah, I like our schedule a lot. You mentioned the Washington State, Kansas State. I think those will be great tests for our group. We go out to Utah and play Utah State and Weber State on the road. That'll be a really challenging road trip right before conference play starts. Travel in the Summit League is difficult, not just from a standpoint of teams are just better at home. And so going into some of those environments, I think will prepare us that way. But I like the mix that we have of home and away. I think we have a really good sense to kind of get our feet under us. And then the challenge with the Summit League this year is the schedule's a little bit different. With playing some teams twice, and familiarity sometimes can be an equalizer. And I think that the way that you combat that is that you have to be much more dynamic to have success against teams the second, or in maybe some cases the third time against them this year, which is a new challenge for the league.
Sure. And they don't get much more familiar than USD, UND, and NDSU, right, Brock? So those are the three you get to face twice in that 10-game slate this year. But Jackrabbits strong and ready to contend once again in the Summit League, no question. Brock, I appreciate your time. Good luck to you and the squad.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake.
Senior midfielder Ellie Gusman from Hawaii. And Ellie, you've been around for a lot of the success. Obviously, 3 straight Summit League titles within this program. It's just kind of what SDSU does, right? So why is this year just another year where the Jackrabbits are going to be fighting right back up at the top of the conference?
I think we've already seen it from preseason, from the acclimation period. Like, everyone here is ready to work hard. They want it. You can tell that a lot of people want it really badly. We have a few new players, but I think you can already tell they're going to bring a lot to the table. So that's super exciting. And then we have a bunch of returners too, which I think will be good. Kind of carry on our traditions. And I think a lot of the returning players are going to be able to teach a lot of the new players our traditions and ways, which will be good. And I think everyone's working really well together. The team gets along really great, so I'm super excited for that.
Coach Thompson made the point to talk about how this group is capable of playing in a lot of different ways, but certainly offensively. There's a lot of firepower coming back. How exciting is it to look around and know that there's so many dangerous players on the pitch with you?
It's super exciting. I think people are going to be able to score from all over the field, even if it's some of our defenders. We've had defenders score all the way from center back, get assists. But I think our forwards, midfielders, everyone works super well. They know how to move off of each other, so I think it'll be super fun to see.
Got things locked up top for the most part, things locked up in the net as well. It sounds like some of that transition, just in terms of new players and getting everybody acclimated, is going to happen on that back line. How important is it as a midfielder to really help that growth along, especially as a midfielder who is also a senior?
I think just talking to them, I think that even the freshmen coming in, I know it can be kind of a scary job to come in as a freshman, even maybe playing in a little bit of a different back formation than they're used to. But I think they're coming in confident. I think that's going to help us a lot. And we have some transfers that are coming in that have more experience, obviously, coming into their junior and senior year. I think their wisdom will help a lot in the back as well.
All right, lots of reasons for Ellie Gusman and the Jackrabbits to be excited. Another talented team there in Brookings this year. Ellie, appreciate your time. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Last but not least, on our team preview portion of this year's Summit League Women's Soccer Preview Show, the preseason favorite and defending Summit League regular season champions, the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles, and their head coach, Austin Reisenhoover, in his 5th year now. Austin, championship match in the Summit League 3 of the last 4 years. I know last year when we had a chance to talk, you talked a little bit about having that championship mindset each and every day, trying to get over the hump and get that done. You got awful close a year ago, but overall, how would you assess what you accomplished last year in winning that regular season title?
I mean, listen, over a course of 9 games or 8 games last year, I think we proved that we were the best team, right? You get into a 1-game knockout, give South Dakota State all the credit in the world. They came in and they finished their chances. But at the end of the day, I think when you're trying to go down a journey that this group's trying to go down this year, every one of those losses or whatever, we grow from. So again, I think this team this year has grown from that. I mean, our sophomores have only known finals. Our juniors have only known finals. So again, I think that's prepared us for continuing to grow with the group that we have this year.
Yeah, that's certainly a lot to be excited about in and of itself. Last year was second in goals scored in the Summit League, 3rd in goals against average, and 3rd in goals against as well. So overall, you were solid on both ends of the pitch. And you look at, when you pair that with the group that's coming back, I mean, obviously a lot of firepower there, Austin, but what in particular has you excited? I know you mentioned the experience and how those different classes are starting to just get accustomed to being successful, and that has a lot to do with it, knowing how to win. But what else has you excited about the shape of ORU in 2026?
Well, I think, thank you to my peers who voted the team first, right? So I think that's a proof of what we did last year. But if you look at this 2026 team, we started this journey in January, right? So, you get a Bree Castleberry, you get a Jenny, you get a Addie Johnson, etc., who didn't get a spring with this. This is their first time to really get through of the way that we want to play. And you see all the goals and what we did last year. Those are new kids that we get completely all this spring, right? So now we pride ourselves on development here at ORU, and they're just different players now, right? So, I think you look at what they've done since January, Jay, we're more excited about the way that we can go attack. You look at like a Precious or a Hannah Vosco that's been in the back. This is Hannah's 4th year with us. This is Precious's 3rd year. So now they've got another spring. This spring we only gave up 3 goals in like 12 games. So we've just grown in that aspect. So I think that's what we're really looking forward to, is the commitment that this group has been put in since January, right? I think a lot of teams get excited now. I've been super excited with this group since 2026. And you get a player that, who I feel is the heartbeat of our team, who didn't play much as a freshman, worked their socks off in the spring, and then was first team all conference in Marley Fort, who then comes in and has a game, an assist and a game-winning goal in the semifinal. Now you give her a spring with OSU and OU, et cetera, et cetera. We just continue to grow in that aspect. You know, Jay, we pride ourselves on development here, and I think that's why this 26 team feels completely different than last year's team.
If you look at all of the things we talked about, the accomplishments in terms of statistics and things like that, but if there's an area of improvement that you really highlighted as you set this journey in place starting back in January, where have you really been focused on getting this team to another level entirely?
There's the commitment to every day. So anybody who signs up at ORU knows that we're going to play for trophies, right? That's it. We're committed. That's probably everybody's goal in the Summit League. But you know, if you want to come here, we want to lift trophies. So on top of that, they've been committed every day. You know, we also Marley Fort, who played the 10 for us last year, she's grown a ton. And then we added a player named Cami Silva from Alabama who played 68 games. She played for me when I was in California. She's a difference maker. So this group going forward, their energy, the culture, we've changed some, leadership, different things. When you step around this team, you can just feel a different group. And again, like I said, this journey for us has started in January. A lot of people voted us from last year, but this is a completely new team. So just the culture, the way we're going to get after teams is just, it's just different.
Well, you talked a little bit about all the opportunities that you had in the spring, but obviously you get this non-conference slate now where you get another new batch of opportunities to continue the progress that you've already set in motion. You'll open up the regular season August 12th at Central Arkansas. But you get a chance to host both Oklahoma and Baylor at your place. I mean, what does that do to help prepare you for what really matters, to be frank, at the end of the season, starting at end of September with that Summit League slate, which is 10 games this year?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that also proves to what our kids have done. You've got a Sweet 16 team that wants to come to ORU and play. You got an SEC team that wants to come to ORU and play. Why? Because we know that we're going to make them better and they're going to make us better, right? So again, we're excited about those. You get a Tulsa out of the American Conference. You get a North Texas out of the American Conference, two very good teams. And, we start off tomorrow night with the Conference USA Finals. So again, this group, if you ask them what they want these games. They're excited about them. And again, that prepares us for the Summit League, which is a very, very tough league. So again, our culture, the way we play, what we're doing, the mentality of our team, Jay, they want these games. And again, it proves to them that teams want to come here and play us as well. So we're excited about that.
And then, of course, you open up at Kansas City, talking about that Summit League. Big one October 8th at South Dakota State. I'm sure that one will be a fun one as well as you get into this 2026 campaign. But Austin Reisenhoover and the Golden Eagles, the favorites this year in the Summit League. Austin, appreciate your time. Good luck in defending that crown this year.
Thanks, Jay.
One more student athlete to talk to, this one from ORU. It is Marley Fort, a first-team All-Summit League selection. 5 goals, 4 assists, 14 points for the Golden Eagles last year. And Marley, we sure appreciate you joining us. But obviously you get the sense of how excited Coach Reisenhoover is about this group. I have to imagine that feeling is mutual with you look around the accomplishments of last year and the group that is returning to Tulsa there this year.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think the culture has grown so much, and I think that there's so many new people here, and it's the power of the collective, and we all want the same thing at the end of the day. We're all here to be 100% committed and win a championship, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that championship mindset with Coach just a little bit ago. Certainly, you could feel it from yourself as well. And to get so close to completing that sweep last year, getting the opportunity again to play for a Summit League tournament title and coming up a little bit short, how much motivation is there off of that defeat, even though there was so many positive things to hang your hats on last year?
There's a lot of motivation. We work for it every day. We all are 100% in, like, we want to win. And we have a great staff that pushes us every single day. So there's a lot of motivation.
When you're out there, and I know it's early, and this year's version of the Golden Eagles is still getting used to each other, but again, there is a lot of familiarity and consistency within the program as well. What are you seeing? What are you feeling as you take those first steps here in 2026?
I just feel like the leadership has grown and we're all playing for one. And I feel like we're all really tight on and off the field. We're just a lot different. We had a lot of growth and a lot of development from the spring, and getting to play with each other in the spring definitely allows us to grow even more through the summer and in the fall. And I think it really just pushes us to be a better team all around.
Marley Fort and the Golden Eagles, the preseason favorite in the Summit League, trying to go back-to-back in the regular season this fall. Marley, appreciate your time. Good luck to you and your team this fall.
Thank you.
And with that, we are through our Summit League women's soccer preview show. All 8 teams and with their student athletes taking some time to talk with us, and all of them getting set for the start of competition. It's coming up soon. August 12th, first day of play, and then the Summit League season will get underway September 24th across the conference. So a couple of big dates to pay attention there in women's soccer. And then, of course, the Summit League tournament, where things get really important. Coming up November 6th through the 14th, you'll have campus sites for the quarterfinal contest. And then after that, the number 1 seed will get the opportunity. 1 and 2 get buys in that first round. The number 1 seed will get the chance to host the semifinals and the championship match. Of course, at stake, the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. So it's going to be another exciting year of women's soccer in the Summit League, and you can pay attention all year long. Home and league matches all going to be streamed all season long on Midco Sports Plus. But that will do it for us. I am Jay Elson. Thanks so much for watching your Summit League women's soccer preview show.